Sup, my name is Ryu for the Yugioh Council. Welcome to a brand new Friday video called Let's Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in, and this week we're going to be talking about another Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set. And no, it wasn't because last week's video actually did extremely well. Now I'm going back to, talking about booster sets only. It just, with the, I just want to get the proper name here. Memories of the Duel King coming to the TCG. OCG name is Duelist Pack Rivals of the Pharaoh. Is coming to the TCG. I thought it was a great time to finally talk about it while it drops out technically next week. We'll have it here on the channel on Wednesday. So, honestly, when I first saw this set, I'm like, oh god, this is an awful set. And I don't really like to say a set's awful, but usually a lot of the Duelist packs are, but this is actually a pretty good Duelist pack. And I know, some of you are probably like slamming on your keyboards. No, that's completely wrong. You are absolutely wrong, good sir. Honestly, there's one major card I really want to go heavily in deep about, and then we'll go over a few other things, and that is Lullaby of Obedience. And honestly, I think this is gonna be potentially not only game changing for your side deck, but it's gonna see play and it's gonna see tons of it. I mean, seriously, it's a pseudo. The P is silent. It's a pseudo brain control in some aspects. Because let me phrase it this way: if you're playing Blue Eyes, and I know you're playing Blue Eyes, and I play Lullaby of Obedience, I pay 2,000 light points, and I declare one monster card. And if you have it in your deck, you reveal one of them. And if there are any, and applies one of these effects, you can add it to my hands, or I can have it special summoned to the field. I think you get to choose. And it gets special summoned in its hack position, ignoring its summoning conditions. That's a little... Okay, that is extremely dumb. So if I call Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon, I can rip it out of your deck. And one of the key aspects that this comes from is if you go against Cosmos and you call Dark Planet, you could pretty much just rip out Dark Planet out of their deck and just either they'll put it to your board or they'll give it into your hand. Now, you are giving up 2,000 light points to do this, but there are some shenanigans that you can really do, and it really comes down to the mirror match. Let me go in depth. If you're playing Blue Eyes and you know you have a grind fest, game fest of being worried about being sacked against another Blue Eyes player, you can pretty much steal their Dragon Spirit White, you could steal their Sages, you could steal their Maxis, their Effect Builders, their Maiden, whatever key aspect card you want to go after. Me personally, I would target their Blue Eyes, and I would use it to make Dark Matter. From Dark Matter, get them to remove 3 more monsters out of their deck. That's 4 cards I don't have to worry about. Yes, it speeds up their deck, but you're putting 3 in your own graveyard, and that's just beautiful on its own. That is absolutely sickening and beautiful on its freaking own. Now, I'm not going to make the whole video about this card, but seriously, it is freaking amazing. And it will probably have a nifty price tag to it because of it. I honestly think it's a fantastic card to use against a mirror match. Not only a mirror match, just decks that you know you're going to give you a problem either which way. I mean, imagine stealing your opponent's like limited Dark Magician. Wait, is Dark Magician of Chaos even limited anymore? No, it's at 3. What am I talking about? Just imagine stealing their Dark Destroyer. Let's phrase it that way. That's a good way. Or their BLS. Imagine taking my BLS from my Chaos Dragons. That is a key card, and I'd be screaming my head off when I wasn't playing the 6-axis. What if your opponent's playing Dark Arm? Free 2,800 beater for 2,000 light points. Sign me up. I'll donate some of that. It's honestly fantastic. I think there's a lot of potential there that some people may not see. Let's talk about reprints, because this is really one of those casual-based sets, and it's fine because in November, the very start of November, what are we getting? We're getting Invasion of Venom, which is going to be meta-changing. It's going to change the metagame. It's going to shake it, and it's going to just not let go, and it's just going to keep grabbing onto it. It's going to be disgusting. So, if I make a mistake here, forgive me, but these are the reprints, if I'm not mistaken. Dark Magician, there's no Dark. Dragon Master Knight, Dark Magician of Chaos, Dedication through Light and Darkness. That's actually pretty good if you're playing Dark Magician. Fiend Sanctuary, Eternal Soul, Silent Swordsman 3, 5, and 7. That's level 3, 5, and 7. Silent Magician level 4 and level 8. Green, red, yellow gadget, Stronghold, the Moving Fortress, Dark Burning Attack, Dark Burning Magic, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. It was like a $15 card, so more than welcome, to be reprinted here. Granted that no one should be really using it, because if you're going to say that Neon Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, you should just use another copy of the Neon Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, because that way when it gets targeted, you could protect it and still get the effect that you're looking for off. There's really no reason to play Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon unless you're playing Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, which is also here. There's also YZ Tank Dragon. There's Dragon's Mirror, Dragon Shrine, Silver's Cry, Castle of Dragon Souls. Those are good reprints from the Blue Eyes decks that are being sought out after for people who want to now pick up Blue Eyes. So it's more than welcome to say, hey, how are you? Helpo Hammer, I always say his name incorrectly, but it's a zombie that if it's destroyed by battle, you can basically just once per turn rip a card from your opponent's hand. It's quite funny. That card is disgusting back in the day. And there's actually a fun combo to do with it now. I may have to do something with it. I don't want to really say what just yet, unless it make it happen. Metal Reflex Slime, a blast held by attributes, Exchange of the Spirits, Mystical Beasts of Circuit, Temple of the Kings, Destiny board and all of its pieces, and of course, Thousand Eyes of Shrift. Now the new cards, the cards that you should be caring about completely, are Tribute Burial, Dark Sanctuary, Lullaby of Obedience, Neutron Blast, Magnet Force, Magnet Reverse, Silent Burning, Silent Sword Slash, Silent Magician, and Silent Swordsman. Some of those are really just not that great, and there's really not too much you could do with it. Tribute Burial, however, that's something we're going to have to keep our eyes on because of the simple fact it's got a lot of potential. I just don't see the pieces in my head connecting to where it should go. I'll explain. Let me read it off for you guys so that way we can go from there. Once during this turn, if you would tribute summon a monster that requires 2 tributes, you could banish 1 monster from each graveyard and tribute summon that monster without tributing. So, technically, if you're doing this in like Mega Monarchs, you'll get the Mega Monarch effect. For example, with Caius, you'll get that whole effect because of the way it's worded. Now, also ripping something out of your opponent's graveyard, that can actually hurt the living crap out of them depending on matchup. If it's Blue Eyes, you want to hit Blue Eyes, or something that is keen to that deck. Or if it's Phantom Knights, obviously you want to hit one of the cards that they're going to use for searching. If it's a Burning Abyss, again, if you see something that they're going to want to utilize in the graveyard later, hit it there. If you see that Fairy Tale Snow, you don't want to hit that because they'll chain to it, banish their own 7, and it'll come to board, and I'm not sure how that one would work, but yeah, that would be a clusterfuck. So you can banish 1 monster from each graveyard, tribute summon that monster without tributing. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn. Considering that it's supposed to be focused so heavily on tribute monsters, and that tribute monsters are supposed to get the most benefit from it, it makes absolute sense why it wouldn't work with anything else, and why it would only work with that. So that's absolutely fine. It's a balanced card. I don't really see it being broken. Needless to say, I really don't. Let's talk about Magnet Force. We're going to go through the new cards. This turn, monsters on the field whose original type is Machine or Rock are unaffected by your opponent's monster's effects except for their own. This is actually pretty interesting because ABC can't affect Veil or me. That's a thing you can do with that card, but honestly, ABC is so quick that it's not going to make use of it. It's just something you can do. It's not something I recommend. It's something in Cyber Dragons that may help him out more, but it's hard to say. It's a really good side deck card if you're going against like Monarchs, like old school froggy Monarchs, but you don't really see those anymore, so unless we have a deck that is similar to that, in that sense of when this card is summoned, it's going to try to banish your stuff out, then that card would come into play. Otherwise, I just don't see it being used as much. Let's talk about Neutron Blast, which is awkwardly Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon support. Target 1 fusion summon Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon you control. This turn, it can make its 2nd attack and the 3rd attack during the battle phase. Also, if it attacks, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated until the end of the damage step. So basically, it turns it into a mini Utopia Lightning in a way, while also giving it 3 attacks. And if you combine that with that Saki Fairy Meteor Crush, you can go back to the old days of like 2004 Yu-Gi-Oh! So that's a thing, but competitively, I don't even think it's ever going to see play. As much as, you know, the Blue Eyes fan in me just gets all giddy goo and wants me to see it play, but that's not going to happen. Now, the last card that we're going to probably talk about tonight is Dark Sanctuary, because everything else is just anime stuff, and we can always go over it if you guys are interested. We can always mention it on coffee time or something, but if you would place a spirit message on the field by the effect of Destiny Board, this is Dark Sanctuary, you can special summon that card as a normal monster, Fiend Dark, level 1 with 0 attack and 0 defense, and if summoned this way, that card is unaffected by card effects except Destiny Board. Also, it cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. If an opponent's monster declares an attack, you toss a coin. And if the result is heads, you negate the attack. And if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half of the opponent's monster's attack. That is some good shit for fucking Destiny Board. Because now Destiny Board actually becomes a contender for fun local deck. Before it was like, here's Twin Twister, get destroyed. Now you have some sort of way of protecting it. And if you can find a way to make, say, Stardust Dragon right off the bat and protect the living hell out of that Stardust, like, call me nuts, just brainstorming, Dragoony Spirit Board could actually be a viable locals deck. Doesn't have to be regionals. Viable locals deck that would allow you just to have some crazy ass fun. Now, it's in good consensus. I cannot just leave off this video without talking about the other 5 cards, so we're going to extend the time of this video. I know. Here's a Magnet Reverse. You could target one of your machine or rock type monsters that cannot be normal summon or set, that is banished or in your graveyard, and special summon it. So I'll leave you guys to figure that one out. I'm still head scratching a little bit about it because I'm just like, wait, how am I supposed to utilize this card? And I'm not going into the Wikia tips to find out. I'm just looking at it, trying to figure out my own, like, yo, how can I really break this shit? And I don't know. I'm terrible, so I'll count on you guys. Alright, next up is a card called Silent Burning. And this is my first time honestly reading. No. During either player's battle phase, if you control a Silent Magician monster, and you have more cards in your hand than your opponent, each player draws until they have 6 cards in their hand. That's what Card of Sanctity should have been. Yes, it would have been on the ban list. Would I have cared? Not really. I would have gotten my anime effect. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. You could banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Silent Magician monster from your deck to your hand. That's good for Silent Magicians, but honestly, they still require more cards, and just the whole, I'll say this again, I didn't say it on, I think I talked about Horus on the Coffee Time video on Monday, but a deck that needs support the style is Level Up Monsters. That needs a giant ass overhaul. That is one thing Konami has not figured out how to work the mechanic on. And if they did, there'd be a bunch of nostalgia people with their Jinzo Horus lockdown decks coming running back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Be like, yo, let me play this game again. But Konami just has not capitalized on it for one reason or another. So I'll be respectful this time. You know, it's just one of those things that in the future they should think about it. The next card is Silent Sword Slash. That's a lot of S's. Target 1 Silent Swordsman monster you control. That monster you control gains 1500 attack and defense. And if it does, hilarious. If this card doesn't get negated, it means until the end of this turn, it is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. This card's activation cannot be negated. You can banish this card from your graveyard and add 1 Silent Swordsman monster from your deck to your hand. That's pretty cool. I may have talked about it on a news video, but I just honestly didn't remember what it did, so that's pretty much why I was like, let's revisit it, talk about it, and put it in the video, so that way, you know, I don't leave nothing out, even though I was saying that I was just going to be like, we're going to make the video 10 minutes and call it a motherfucking day. Hell no. Hell no. One of the ultra rares in the set, and it's actually confirmed, you'll most likely see the picture as a TCG if I could find it. Silent Magician. And it's a level 4, 1000 attack, 1000 defense, light spellcaster. It cannot be normal summon or set, and it must be special summon from your hand by triggering one spellcaster type monster, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. So tribute that Dark Magician off and use Eternal Soul to bring it back. And then use Dark Magical Circle to banish a card. I'm going too far into it. I'm thinking way too hard. This card gains 500 attack for each card in your hand. That's pretty nifty. So if I have 6 cards, it'll have an additional 3,000. So 4,000 attack points, anyone? Once per turn, during either player's turn, when a spell card is activated, you can negate the activation. And if this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card in its owner's control is destroyed by the opponent's card effect, you can special one Silent Magician monster from your hand or deck, except Silent Magician, ignoring its summoning conditions. That's actually really good. That is honestly really good. Konami, why don't you make more of these guys? Just make it the silent deck. They don't speak a word, but they're deadly as fuck. There's your catchphrase. Probably can't go that deep, but geez, I can believe in it. Finally, the last card we're talking about on this Let's Talk is Silent Swordsman. It's 1000 attack and 1000 defense, light warrior effect. It cannot be normal summon or set. Must be special summoned by tributing, you guessed it, a warrior type monster, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. And once per turn during the standby phase, this card gains 500 attack. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a spell card is activated, you guessed it, you can negate the activation. And if this card is destroyed by battle, or a card this card in the owner's control is destroyed by the opponent's card effect, you can special summon one Silent Swordsman monster from your hand or deck, except Silent Swordsman, this one, and ignoring the summoning conditions. There's honestly some good stuff in here. There's only one meta card, if you want to call it a meta card, that's really going to affect it, or could affect it, or just be useful in the side deck to really look out for. It's more of a fun pack. I often say this, and some people get heated at me, like, I don't know why you would say that, that's kind of stupid. It's one of those things that I wish Konami would do a little bit more of, but instead of just putting reprints in there, I'm okay with some of the Blue Eyes reprints that were in the structure deck and not available to anyone else, everywhere else, I should say. Terrible phrasing tonight. Then what they should do is the other half, instead of the reprints, just do like 5 reprints, and then everything else be new cards to support, say, like the Silent Magicians or Silent Swordsman or the Rock Machine kind of support cards. Those would be a lot better. Would they sell on their own? I can't guarantee that. That's up to Konami and how they design the card, and if people got interested behind it. But I think if it was right, and oh my god, I just realized some of that Magnet stuff could be used in Treadmids, if you want to go that route, or maybe Subterria. So there's that to think about and digest. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for everything, absolutely everything you guys are doing on the channel right now. The crazy amount of subs that the channel has gone up in the last month or so is just unbelievable. And honestly, I just hope you guys are enjoying the content. And I'm trying to, every video, just trying to be a little bit better, whether it be speaking or editing, just something, or thumbnail. My thumbnails are awful. Unless when Gaming Showdown does it. That's when they're good. Go subscribe to him. He needs some love. You could find him on the featured channels. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out for now. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Peace.